A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A ruthless fiend roams the streets of your city masquerading as a police officer. For months, helpless citizens have been robbed, beaten senseless, and kidnapped. The criminal is a twisted genius, vicious, cunning. Your job is to get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment. Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from communications, and it was 11:13 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Oh, hi, Joe.
Hi, Ben. Did you get that message to call home?
Yeah, bad news.
What's the matter?
That doggone kid of mine, chicken pox.
Oh, again?
Last year it was the mumps. Year before that, the measles. Every time I get set for a vacation, he decides to catch something.
Well, forget it, Ben. Think what a comfort he's going to be in your old age.
Go ahead, laugh. You'll find out.
Yeah.
How are you, Friday? Romero?
Fine. What can we do for you?
You don't look like you remember me.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Name's Savage, isn't it? George?
It's Johnny, Sergeant. Johnny Savage. Remember now?
Oh, sure. Those liquor store robberies out in the Wilshire district. About 6-7 years ago, wasn't it?
10 years, Romero. You ought to remember that. You were at the trial.
We testify in court every week. 10 years is a long time.
It's longer in the state pen. It's a lot longer.
Yeah, you cried a little at that trial, didn't you, Savage? You said we beat that confession out of you.
Yeah, that's why I figured I'd drop in for a little visit. Kind of apologize to you fellas. You gave me a square deal. I guess I kind of lost my head. I figured I'd apologize.
Oh, that's all right, Savage. When'd you get out?
A couple of weeks ago. I did it the hard way. Served 10 flat. I don't know my day.
You find a job yet?
Yeah, Friday. I'm working nights.
What kind of a job?
Laborer in a warehouse, south end of town.
Good. You decided to level?
10 years in prison's a long time. You learn a lot of things. Nights are long, you think a lot. You get things straightened out.
I hope you mean that.
Sure I mean it, Friday. I've got everything straightened out. I know who my friends are, and I know who to watch out for.
You sound like maybe you're on the right track.
I got it figured, Romero. Not like you two fellas. You caught me red-handed, and you sent me up for 10 years.
Well, you did all right, Savage. 5 armed robberies. You got off pretty easy.
You got a break, Savage. Make the best of it.
Sure, I'm not kicking. 10 years, a real break.
That's right.
Well, just dropped in for a little visit. Maybe I'll see you fellas sometime.
All right, Savage? Keep your nose clean?
Sure. No hard feelings.
No?
You just took 10 years of my life, that's all.
There's no such thing as a man going through prison without changing. And Ben and I have seen him switch in both directions. Some men learn their lesson after they land behind bars, and when they're released, they turn into good citizens. Johnny Savage was sour. We made a mental note to check him out later on, and then we went down to the record bureau and pulled his coming out mug. That's about all we had time for, because about an hour later, we started to get busy.
Hot shot, Joe. Grab it.
On the corner of Selma and Naples, the drugstore, 211 and probable attack. on the corner of Selma and Naples, 211.
What you got, Joe?
Selma and Naples, 211 and attack. Come on.
Here we are, Joe. Over there on the far corner.
Yeah. All right. Come on. We got the story from the victim, the store owner, Mr. Thomas. For the most part, it was the usual rundown of an early morning holdup. There was only one exception.
Oh, I've had young hoodlums try to hold me up before, but there was nothing like this one.
How you mean, Mr. Thomas?
Well, he came in here just before closing, and ordinarily I'd have kept an eye out because that's the time to look for him. But this fella came to the door and said he was a policeman, so I let him in. He looked like a cop. Barged right up to me and the wife behind the counter and pointed a gun. And she screamed, and he hit her in the face with the butt of the gun. Sergeant, it was horrible.
That's the way it started, and that's the way it kept going. Because most of the victims and most people don't realize that as a citizen, they have the right to check on police officers' identification when in doubt. After we got the story from Mr. Thomas and checked the store in the neighborhood, Ben and I headed back for the office.
Attention, all units. At the end of North Baxter Road near Hillcrest, victim of 211 and slugging. Car 7172, take the call. Code 3. Attention, all
That's
units.
4 blocks away from the last one. Let's roll on it, huh, Ben?
Right, I'll hit the siren. You get the light.
By the time Ben and I got up to the end of North Baxter, the men from car 71 were already there. The victim was telling his story. His face looked like it had been through a meat grinder.
We're just shifting the car into second to make the hill when I hear this siren behind me, and I see this red light flashing in the side view mirror. Well, naturally, I pulled over to the curb, and I was just reaching for my driver's license when the cop runs up, yanks me out of the car, and starts clubbing me in the face with the butt of his gun.
Did you get a look at him? Think you can describe him?
No, I'm afraid not. He swung me around and kept me staring into that red light on his car all the time he was beating me. After a while, everything just went black. When I woke up, my wallet was gone, all my money.
45 minutes later, Ben and I were interviewing the third victim, a young housewife out in the Wilshire district. Same trademark.
I tried to tell him, Sergeant. I tried to tell him I didn't have any money, but he wouldn't listen. He kept holding me by the throat and beating me with his fist like he enjoyed it. Beating me.
Yeah, all right, Mrs. Jameson. Could you tell us how he got in the house?
He came in the front door and rang the bell. I opened the door, but I left the burglar chain on. He said he was a policeman. So when he demanded I open the door all the way, I did. Then he grabbed me.
And you can't describe the man for us, Mrs. Jameson?
He was tall, and he had dark hair and big hands. That's all. It was like a nightmare. A horrible nightmare.
Tall, dark hair, big hands. Your guess the same as mine, Joe?
Maybe. Let's wait and see. Come on, let's check with the boss.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. He's waiting for you in there.
Come on, Ben.
Chief of Detective's office. Hannon.
Sit down.
Yeah, Skipper.
All right, you two, let's have it.
The guy with the red light?
Yes, the guy with the red light posing as a policeman. Why hasn't he been picked up?
You know as much about it as we do, Ed. We got our first call around midnight. He knocked over a drugstore out on Selma. He hasn't stopped working since.
Didn't you get any definite lead on him? No description, no license number?
Nothing. He's tall, big hands, dark hair, that's all.
Fine. Either of you got any ideas?
Could be anybody, Skipper, with that description.
You're sure it wasn't anybody on the force?
We sent all the victims down to personnel. Lowry showed him the mug book of all police officers. Wasn't one of our men.
Works fast. Drugstore, motorist, a pedestrian, a housewife out in the Wilshire district. Went right in the house after her. 4 of them, right in a row.
5.
Huh?
There's a 20-year-old kid in the next room. Came in just before you got here. A couple of hours ago, he was sitting in the car with his girl up in Mulholland Drive. This red light bandit comes along, slugs him, and kidnaps the girl.
Kidnapped? She still missing?
Not a trace.
When did this happen?
A couple of hours ago. They brought the kid over from Georgia Street Hospital. We can talk to him now. He's had a bad time. Right in here.
Okay.
Pete, we're going to have to ask you a few more questions.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It feels a little better now.
This is Sergeant Friday and Sergeant Romero.
Hi, Pete.
Hi.
Can you tell us what time the trouble started?
Oh, about 10:15, 10:30. Sally and I were sitting in the car talking about where we were going on our honeymoon. We're going to be married next month. And then this car pulls up behind us and starts flashing a red spotlight on us, and a guy runs over and pulls open the door. He said he was a cop.
Did you get a good look at his car, Pete?
I think it was a black sedan.
Did you get a look at the man, Pete?
No, I didn't. It was pretty dark, and he kept me staring into that red spotlight. It all happened so fast. Then he started slugging me, and I went down.
What happened then?
Well, the next thing I knew, Sally was screaming. He had one hand on her throat, and he had her backed up against the side of the car. He was beating her with the other hand. Some kind of a short billy club. I got up and I started for him, and he slugged me again. When I came to, Sally was gone.
Anybody check the area up there, Ed?
Yeah, Davis and Griffin. Didn't find a thing.
Oh, Sergeant, you gotta find her. You got to. I wouldn't know what to tell her folks. I wouldn't know what to say.
That's all right, Pete. We'll find her. You take it easy.
Got a hot shot, Ed, up on Summit Road near Westmore. A woman, unconscious. Ambulance follow-up. Possible dead body.
All right, Hannon. Look after Pete here. Friday, Romero, let's go. Up ahead, Romero, to the right.
Okay, Skipper.
Yeah, there's the ambulance and the cruiser car.
Sort of lonely-looking spot.
All right, come on.
Hiya, Doc. What'd you find?
Hiya, fellas. Right over here. Just going to take her in.
Where'd you find her?
Over there, by the side of the road. Somebody driving by saw her. They called us.
Any identification?
This bracelet on her wrist.
To my dearest Sally and Pete. December 25th, 1947.
That's a girl, all right. What are the chances, Doc?
I wouldn't bet on them. Pretty bad shape. Well, have you seen her now?
Yeah. Friday, Romero, call the crime lab and check the area for footprints and tire tracks. I'll ride back in the ambulance with the girl. If she regains consciousness, I want to talk to her. All right?
Okay, Ed.
I'll meet you in the office by 8:30. We're working straight through till we get this guy.
See you at the office, Skipper.
What time you got, Ben?
7 minutes to 4. Long night.
Hey, that car up there ahead. Let's take a look at it, huh?
Black sedan. Hey, look, he's flashing a red spot on that convertible.
Come on.
He sees us, Joe. He's pulling away.
Get that gas pedal down to the floor.
Already there. He's turning off right.
Hit the siren. I'll get the light. We're gaining a little, Ben. Next corner to the left.
Joe, where'd he go?
The fancy driver. Try the alley up ahead to the left.
Must have turned up that cross street.
Get through the alley and double back on him.
Right.
There he is, Ben. Look out.
Watch it, Joe. Watch it. He's going to ram us.
We got hit just in front of the rear bumper. Our car was forced into the curbing and it turned over. He was real lucky. He kept right on going. But this time, Ben and I were sharing the luck. All we got out of it was a couple of nasty cracks in the head and a few bruises, but it was enough to keep us in a hospital under observation for a day. By this time, Ed Backstrand was fuming. So were the newspapers. During the day we spent in the hospital, the Red Light Bandit went on a real blitz. We pulled 6 more jobs, 1 liquor store, 2 residential holdups, and 3 car robberies. 5 of the 6 victims were slugged and beaten. Davis and Griffin had taken over for Ben and me, and by the time we got back on the job, they'd built up a lead for us.
We've been working with Wilkerson up in auto theft, Joe. He's used 4 stolen cars already. We got the makes and numbers on each one of them.
How about the dark sedan he was driving when he rammed us?
The boys picked it up this morning out on Sepulveda. We're checking it for prints now.
Oh, that's fine, Dave. You got any description on the guy yet?
No, like that, Joe. He works too fast.
Nothing at all?
The same as you had. Tall, black hair, big hands. Loves to use them.
Friday, Romero, got a minute?
Okay, Skipper. Check you later, Hyundai.
Sure thing, boys.
Sit down. How do you feel?
Pretty fair, Ed.
A little stiff here and there.
All right, did Davis fill you in?
Up to date.
Okay, I just called the doctor who's handling Sally Wilder, Pete's girlfriend, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
She's been in pretty bad shape since we found her up there on Summit Road. This morning she took a turn for the better. She's conscious, and her doctor thinks she might be able to talk to us a little bit.
Good. When?
About an hour. I cleared it with the doctor and with her family. You'll only be able to stay a couple of minutes, so make the most of them. That's all.
All right, Ed. We'll check with you later.
Say, Joe, Ben, here's some mail came for you fellas while you were gone.
Oh, thank you, Mike. We're going over to the county hospital. We ought to be back in a couple hours.
Okay. Say, there's been a couple of phone calls, too.
Yeah, anything important?
I don't think so. The guy just called to say hello. Said his name was Johnny Savage. Just call to say hello.
I presume you men are aware of the girl's critical condition.
Yeah, that's right, Dr. Froman.
We saw her before she was taken here at the hospital.
Yes. You understand, of course, that you'll be able to see her for only a few minutes, and please try your best not to excite her, huh?
Right, Doctor.
Sally isn't able to talk. Bad mouth and face injuries, so your questions will have to be answered simply yes or no and nod of the head.
Okay, we got you. We only have a few questions, and we want to know if she can identify the man who beat her from these pictures we've got here.
All right, Sergeant. This way, please.
Thank you.
Sally, these gentlemen are from the police department. They'd like to ask you a few questions. Now, there's no need to be nervous or afraid. Just simply nod your head yes or no. That's fine. All right, Sergeant.
Sally, did you see the man who attacked you?
Yes. She says yes.
Did you get a good look at his face? You did. All right, Sally, now you can answer these three together, just yes or no. Was he tall? Did he have dark hair? Did he have large hands? He did. Ben.
Oh, yeah, Jim.
Hand me the folder.
Yeah. Here you go.
Thanks. Now, there's just one more thing, Sally. I'm going to show you some pictures now. Take all the time you want before you make up your mind about each one. If you recognize any one of these men as the person who attacked you, just nod your head, all right? Oh, that's fine. Good. Here's the first one. No? All right. Here's the next one. No. How about this one? No? All right. Here's another. You recognize him? This was the man? Are you sure, Sally? Thank you. That's all. Let's go.
Did you find what you wanted, Sergeant?
Yes, Doctor, we did. Here, it's this one.
Nice-looking chap. Who is he, Sergeant?
His name's Savage, Dr. Froman. Johnny Savage. When we got back to the office, we checked in with Ed Backstrand. In 5 minutes, an all-points bulletin and a full description of the suspect was broadcast to every radio car, every motorcycle officer, to every sheriff and law enforcement agency in Los Angeles and Southern California. By nightfall, the manhunt was on. More than a dozen extra patrol units were called in for duty that night, and when they pulled out of the police garage, the name, the picture, and the full description of Johnny Savage was in the possession of every officer. The same for the patrolmen, whether they walked a beat downtown or out in the residential areas. The picture of Johnny Savage went with them. Everything was done that could be done. On the second night of the manhunt, far out on the edge of town, Johnny Savage, the red light bandit, got his 12th victim, a 63-year-old storekeeper.
Attention, all units. 939 Markham Street, near Clark. 211 and slugging, code 3. Ambulance dispatched. All units. 939 Markham Street, near Clark.
Here it is, Skipper. Time.
What'd you get?
Wilkerson lifted the prints off that black sedan that rammed Joe and me.
Yeah?
They belong to Johnny Savage.
Yeah, good.
That storekeeper last night. It is Savage, all right. Victim identified him from his mug.
All right. We got enough in this Savage guy to put him on ice for life. All we have to do now is to get him.
Now, look, the way we figure it, Ed, this red light bandit is using stolen cars with cold plates, so there's no way of tracking down the cars at regular commercial garages. He's got to be renting private garages someplace around town.
All right, let's get the neighborhood patrolman on the job. Advertise it. All over town. It's a city ordinance, isn't it? People who rent private garages are bound by law to register the car and license number with the police. Start a campaign if you want, but find those cars.
Right.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hello, Backstrand. Yeah? When? I see. Yeah, thanks.
What is it, Ed?
It was the hospital. About the girl, Sally.
Sally Wilder? What about?
She died 5 minutes ago.
That night, everybody went back on the job as usual. The cruiser cars, the patrolmen, the motorcycle officers, and about a dozen decoy cars. Armed policewomen riding alone in cars or parked in lonely spots with a police officer escort. Our car, 80K, was still in the garage for repairs, so they assigned us another one. And we started to make the rounds. Everything was usual. Except one thing. We weren't tracking down just a thief anymore or a sadist who liked to beat people's faces in. We were out to get a murderer. It was a perfect night for the suspect. Dark, no moon. I gave Ben 2-to-1 odds, and I put up $5 that we'd get Savage that night. I lost the $5. We cruised until 7 the next morning, but there wasn't even a nibble. We had breakfast at the Federal Cafe, a little restaurant down the street from the city hall, and it was about 8:15 when we got back to the office. We were pretty tired.
Robert Detail, Romero.
I would like to speak to Sergeant Friday.
Just a minute. For you, Joe.
Okay, thanks. Friday talking.
Sergeant Friday, I want to talk to you.
Well, I'm listening. Go ahead.
I want to talk to you in person as soon as possible.
Can't you tell me over the phone? What is it?
I cannot tell you over the phone. It is very important. Can you come now?
Well, now, look, mister, I'm awful sorry, but we're very busy down
554 Ramona Avenue. Can you come now?
Well, what's this all about? Who is this speaking?
My name is Carl Savage. My son's name is John.
Here it is, Joe. Neat-looking little place.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm Sergeant Friday. You Mr. Savage?
Yeah, come in.
Okay. This is my partner, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do? I will be brief, gentlemen. I am the father of John Savage. I wish for you to catch him. I will help you.
I noticed the name on the mailbox outside, Mr. Savage. Changed your name lately?
I changed my name 10 years ago when John first got into trouble. My own name I had to change. The shame. Always from him, my son. Shame.
Mr. Savage, has your son been home since he got out of prison?
Yeah, many times to ask for money. I would not give him any, so he struck me. Last night I read in the newspaper the little girl he beat up. She is dead. Then I make up my mind.
Do you know where your son is now, Mr. Savage?
Not now, no. But our garage has a car in there. It is not his, I know. Also in the garage, I find many license plates. I find spotlights with red glass lens.
But you don't have any idea where we could find him.
No, but he will come back. He always comes back for money.
We're going to station an officer here in the house, Mr. Savage.
Anything you want, if it will catch him. He's bad, Sergeant. Like something poison. All through, he's bad.
See a sewing basket over there, Mr. Savage. The wife live here with you?
10 days ago, before this starts, I buried Gertrude, my wife, his mother. Sergeant, for 10 years she is sick, but for 10 years she stays alive to see him from prison. 10 days ago, she died. He did not even come to the funeral.
Did your son have any idea that you might call us?
No, I don't think so. But when you catch him, give me a gun. With my own 2 hands, I will kill him. Johnny Savage.
Before we left, we called Ed Backstrand and we brought him up to date. He sent 3 detectives out to relieve us, Davis, Griffin, and Marsh. We told them to keep an eye on the house and the stolen car in the garage. That night after dinner, Ed Backstrand, Ben, and I went out and relieved them. We parked the cruiser car in the garage next door, and then we took up our posts. Carl Savage had a light supper, and then he went to bed about 9. The 3 of us sat at the front windows in the darkened house, and we waited. Ben kept his eye on the garage. Outside, across the city, the manhunt continued as usual. 3 hours went by. The waiting got monotonous.
Friday, Romero, look alive, will you?
Oh, yes, Skipper. I'm sorry.
That clock's enough to put anybody to sleep.
Yeah, what time you got?
12:23 a.m.
Thanks.
The clock kept ticking. We were tired. We took turns keeping each other awake. At 10 minutes past 2, I looked at my watch, and then I settled back and tried to find some kind of a comfortable position. They started so faintly, it was just like the ticking of the clock. Same rhythm. And then they came closer, and the sounds got out of rhythm. Backstrand's head came up with a snap.
Friday, Romero, you hear that?
Yeah, Ed.
Get up to the window, watch the curtains. You see anything?
Yeah, somebody's coming.
Savage?
Can't tell. Wait a minute, he's slowing down. He's going up the driveway to the garage. He's going inside. That's him.
Come on. Watch it, he spotted us. He went over that fence into the yard.
There he is, Friday.
You hit him, Joe.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's going for the street.
He's headed for that car, Ed, that sedan up on the corner there.
Yeah, Romero, go back and get the car.
Right, Skipper.
Must have parked up the block before he came around. Where's Romero?
I don't know. Oh, here he comes now. All right, let's go.
Get that radio on, Joe.
It's already on, Ed.
All right, give him a call. Any sign yet?
No, nothing so far. Next corner to the right, Ben. Unit 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to Unit 80K. Go ahead.
Clear and keep frequency 4 open. This is an emergency.
80K, roger. Frequency 4, open and clear. Attention, all units on frequency 4. Stand by. 80K, go ahead.
Yeah, there he is, Friday, up ahead. Dark blue sedan.
Control 4. We are in pursuit of a possible red light bandit. Suspect is driving a dark blue 1949 sedan. License number in the 7 column. 61 Robert 784. Use caution. Suspect is armed. Code 3.
Attention, all units. Attention, all units. Unit 80K now pursuing possible red light bandit. Suspect is driving a dark blue 1949 sedan. License number in the 7 column. 61 Robert 784. Use caution. Suspect is armed. Code 3. Your location, 80K.
Control 4. We are headed east on Wilshire Boulevard, crossing La Brea.
Attention, all units. Suspect is headed east on Wilshire Boulevard, crossing La Brea.
Watch it, Romero. Don't lose him.
I see him, Skipper.
Control 4. Still pursuing red light bandit. Headed east on Wilshire, now crossing Rossmore.
Attention, all units. Suspect is still headed east on Wilshire, now crossing Rossmore. Suspect is armed. Use caution. Code 3.
That truck pulling out up ahead.
Hit the siren, will you, Skipper? Hold on, it's a tight squeeze.
Easy on him, Romero. A lot of traffic up ahead. He's got to slow down.
Control 4. Suspect headed east on Wilshire, crossing Western Avenue, closing in.
There he goes. Took a right down Sherman Alley. It's a dead end.
Yeah. Control 4. Suspect turns south into Sherman Alley, closing in on suspect.
Attention, all units. Suspect has turned south into Sherman Alley. Suspect is trapped. Converge on Sherman Alley.
There he is, Skipper. Pulling up ahead. He's jumping out.
All right, take the mic. Will you, Ed? Here. Come on, Ben.
I'll direct the other cars in. If you need help, holler.
Right, Skipper.
All right, which way to go, Ben?
Down between those buildings.
Come on.
Starting up the back fire escape.
All right, keep him busy. All right, Savage, come on down.
He wants to go to Roughwood.
One more chance, Savage. Come on down.
No use, Joe. He's heading up for the roof.
Come on. He climbs like a monkey. Come on, let's get him. Here, I'll give you a hand.
Here's the roof. All right, where'd he go?
I don't know. Let's spread out. All right, Savage, you're through. Throw your gun out and come out with your hands up.
Watch it, Joe. He's running for the edge. He's going to jump.
I'll get him. All right, guy back here.
You lousy copper, you dirty, lousy cop. I'll kill you out.
You're through, Savage. You're through.
Good, Joe.
Yeah. Throw the cuffs on, will you?
Yeah, you just betcha. You want to smoke?
Yeah, I can sure use one. Thanks.
Quiet up here.
Yeah. I was just thinking.
Well?
Carl Savage, this guy's father.
Mm-hmm. What about him?
Nothing. What would you do, Ben, if your son was a murderer?
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
John Savage was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard the sixth in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Patrol Officer Robert Steele of the Montana State Highway Patrol, who on the morning of November 2nd, 1947, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Anthony J. Lyon cashes in on somebody's trouble, it means money for him. For me, it means work. I'm Jeff Regan, the Lyon's private eye.
Here's the kind of program you've been waiting to hear. Hard-boiled action and mystery as told by Jeff Regan, Investigator. So stand by for trouble. Stand by for suspense. Stand by for adventure. In tonight's story, The Lady with the Golden Hair. And now, here's Jack Webb as Jeff Regan.
Well, this is the way it started. I was sitting in the Lion's den waiting for him to get off the phone so I could ask him about my expense sheet on that New Orleans thing. He was playing the usual games with his lawyer, and just about the time he hung up and turned his chair my way, the office door opened.
All right, Regan, what do you want? Aha!
A little curly-headed man, about 40, dressed in a black suit, was standing there. He was holding a stack of $50 bills, a gold-headed cane, and a red card in one hand. In his other, he had a black derby with a hole through the top of it, a pair of suede gloves, and a white carnation. He stood there, looked at both of us. The Lion looked at the $50 bills. I looked at the little man.
Aha! You are Mr. Lion, no? I, Max Vladimir, have come to see you unappointed. There you are.
My name's Regan. This is Mr. Lion.
Aha. You will do it.
Won't you sit down, Mr.
Max Vladimir Max. 1642 Mulholland Drive, Hollywood 28, on Imperial Studio payroll. Time I do not have. I will not sit. Aha. I demonstrate. See you. That flower I do not need. This, a ticket because I too long park, I also do not need. Cane I place here. A gift from my grandfather. I keep that. Also gloves. Now, what have I left, gentlemen?
Quite a bundle of cash, Mr. Vladimir.
Yeah. From bank I just arrived. Also this I do not need. For you. All for you.
Well, Mr. Vladimir.
Aha. Now, what I have. You I answer myself. Bullet hole in hat. See you.
Oh.
Is not finished. 1, 2, 3.
Those look like 38 slugs. Where'd you get them?
Out of doorway. I dig them where I'm shot last night in my home.
Who's shooting at you, Mr. Vladimir?
This, if I know, I shoot back. I have no enemies. Everyone is madly in love with Max Vladimir. I must buy new hats. Cannot buy new hats. Kindly you will guard my body from dying.
Of course. You've certainly come to the right place, Mr. Vladimir. If your life has been threatened, you can depend on International Detective Bureau to see that no harm comes to you.
Therefore it is so. We see.
I understand perfectly.
Well, if somebody shot at you last night, why didn't you call the police?
Mr. Regan meant to ask who recommended you to International.
Aha, I explained. In Imperial Motion Picture Studio, where master of makeup, Max Vladimir, who is great, is imported to create beautiful faces from skinny skulls and fat necks, is much newspaper. Free sometimes for agents to press. Hollywood police might think because I work on great gun epic, tie my rope tight, is free trick for agents to press. But is not joke. To you I come to take no chance.
Yeah.
In I am, Mr. Regan.
Of course you're in, Mr. Vladimir. And Mr. Regan here will stick right by your side until we can get to the bottom.
Now, wait a minute.
If I have to, I'll use every man on my staff to protect your life, Mr. Vladimir. All of the resources of International Detective Bureau are behind you. Regan, I'm entrusting you with Mr. Vladimir's life.
Already better, I feel. We start.
And call me, Regan. Call me.
I know. Call you if I run into trouble. Come on, Max. Well, you can see how it was. Max Vladimir's car was parked in a red zone in front of the building, and there was another ticket on it. He tore that one up, too. On the way out to his house, I tried to get a little more information, but it didn't come to much. He couldn't figure out why somebody was shooting at him or who was doing it.
It was about 6 o'clock when we pulled up in front of his house on Mulholland Drive. One of those little places with a big sun porch in front of it and an egg-shaped swimming pool in front of that. He was pulling things out of his pockets, looking for the key to the front door when it happened.
See what I tell you. All the time shooting at Maxie, someone.
All right, get on.
What I tell you, my heart is full again of hope.
All right, shut up. You weren't hit.
But he's frightening.
Well, unless he's got a machine gun, he can't find anything more.
Wait, where go you? You leave Max to be killed.
I'm going after him. Stay right here. You'll be all right. I started for the heavy brush outside the clearing of the house where white gun smoke still hung around the trees. And then I saw him. He was a gray-haired man, stocky build, glasses, about 100 feet away, running down the hill waving a gun. I went after him, but I couldn't get a clear shot. Oh, he was quite an acrobat. He dived over a wooden road bracer and went skidding down the embankment. By the time I got there, he was climbing into an old Chevy convertible, and he took off in a cloud of dust. I couldn't see the license plate on the car.
Darling, this is absolutely terrible, terrible, darling. Something like this happening to you. Oh, Max, why would anyone want to do such a thing? It's beyond me.
I got back to the house 10 minutes later, and there was a black convertible in the driveway and a very blonde girl in the doorway. She was digging the new slugs out of the woodwork with a penknife. Max was lying on one of the beach chairs. When the blonde girl saw me, she pulled off her sunglasses and held out her hand.
How do you do? You're Mr. Regan. Did you kill him?
I got away.
Oh, and I am again to be shot at.
You say he got away, then you saw who it was.
Part of him. Who are you?
Oh, beg my pardon. This is Hilda Graham. You have seen her in pictures. The hair, I have seen her differently. She's my wife, almost.
Did you see anybody?
Well, I heard the shots as I drove up and found poor Max by the door.
He's got to stop this business, Mr. Regan. He's got to stop. Next time, maybe...
Well, it certainly does have to stop, Mr. Regan. Max, why, he's the finest makeup artist in the world. It'd be a great loss to everyone in Hollywood if anything ever happened to him.
You see? Am I valuable? Did I not tell you?
Yeah, you told me. Where's your phone?
Oh, in there, in my private workshop, study, where I have to live. Use it, please. Call Mr. Lyon and stop the shooting.
Oh, Max, darling, if you don't so terrible, after all you've done to me, now I should be able to do something so nice and so helpful.
Lyon. This is me. I'm calling from Max's. Somebody just threw 6 bullets all over the place.
What? Is Max all right?
Didn't even come close.
Oh, good. Now, the Treasury Department tells me he paid $20,000 last year in income tax, and he can afford little protection.
Well, whoever it is got away. I think we ought to turn this over to the cops.
The cops? And let them do for free what we're getting paid to do? Not on your life, Regan.
What about his life?
We'll worry about that, too. Now, listen. I'm sending Joe Canty out there to give you a hand. Now, this Bladney's a first-class gold mine as far as I'm concerned, and that means as far as you're concerned.
I don't care what you...
Until then, do anything you want. So long as you stick by Maxie and don't call the cops.
I figured. It's a fair label.
Brew phoning, Mr. Regan?
Yeah. You want one?
No, thanks. I've something much better than that at my house.
I'll bet you have.
I live all alone in Toluca Lake. End of the canyon.
I'll remember that when I get thirsty.
Who do you suppose is shooting at Max?
You tell me, lady. I just met him.
I thought you said you saw whoever it was.
I did.
Well, aren't you going to look for him or send out an alarm or whatever you do?
Yeah, whatever we do.
I see.
Don't you think you ought to be in there holding hands with Max? He's had a hard day.
Max? Oh, he's resting now. Do you think he's the kind I'd really have something in common with?
I wouldn't know, lady.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was just leaving. I have to be at the studio early tomorrow. If there's anything I can do at all, I'd be only too happy to cooperate.
Yeah, well, why don't you start by giving me those slugs you were digging out of the doorway?
Oh, I completely forgot about those. Here, I meant to give them to you.
Thanks, I'll need these.
Really, whatever on earth for?
A comparison test. The ejector marks, the firing pin dents. You can tell if they were fired from the same gun if you want to look into it.
And, of course, being a detective, you want to look into it.
That's right, I want to look into it.
Well, Mr. Regan, it's been nice meeting you. I know you'll take good care of Max. If there's anything I can do...
Yeah, I'll give you a ring.
Bye, Mr. Regan. Until we meet again.
I followed her out the door and watched her pat Max on the head, kiss him on the cheek. And then she slid under the wheel of that convertible like she'd been built right along with it. That famous gold in the hair was blowing behind her by the time she got onto the main road.
Be careful, careful. How lovely she is, Mr. Regan, huh?
Yeah, Maxie, she's just fine.
For her, too, you must keep me alive. She needs me.
Yeah.
What now?
We wait for another guy.
Aha, reinforcers. I like you, Mr. Regan. Already better, I feel.
Only me, Regan. Take it easy.
Oh, Canto. Come on in. What took you so long?
I stopped by police ballistics on the way out. I had them 38 slugs that Max brought in checked.
Well, I got some more for you.
Well, I found a winner. Gun belongs to a feller named Pete Berger. Ain't no permit on it. He done 6 to 18 in San Quentin once for robbery. Sprung a couple of years ago.
Address?
Yeah, a place on Figueroa right off of Sunset. Here.
Thanks. Well, he was around again this afternoon, shooting things all over the place.
Wonder what the connection is.
I'm going to find out before Maxie does. You take over, Joe.
Okay, where's our clay pigeon there?
Roosting in there. Keep your eyes open, Canto. I'll get back as soon as I can.
Oh, take your time, son. Joey the Canto is on the job.
Yeah, I feel better already.
Hey, do you know how to play Carolina in the morning? What's that Carolina in the evening? Well, if there isn't a stranger in our midst, boy.
Hey, get a look at that. Will you white straighten off?
Curly-haired.
Hey, sure shine. He's got big feet.
Yeah, awful big feet. What'll it be, mister? Mum champagne or beer?
Neither one, lady.
Well, we ain't got either one for you, copper.
You picked wrong tonight.
Flossie never picks them wrong. I can tell by your feet. You're paid by the city or you're a private peeper and somebody else pays you. Makes no difference to me. All spell copper. What do you want?
No fuss with you, Flossie. I'm looking for Pete Berger.
Who?
Pete Berger. This is his last address.
Ain't never heard of no Pete Berger, and neither has anybody else. And he ain't never lived here, and you got a wrong steer.
That door lead to rooms upstairs?
Yeah, that door leads to rooms upstairs.
Mind if I take a look?
I mind a lot of things, Seamus. And taking a look is one of them.
All right. This Pete Berger you don't know, never heard of, was throwing a lot of lead around yesterday and today, and I'm going to take a look anyway.
Wait. Hey, you can't go up there.
I was only halfway up when a man in a gray sweatshirt backed over to the top of the stairs. There were 3 red holes just above the center of the sweatshirt. He turned around and tried to say something. I saw what was going to happen, and I hugged the side of the banister.
Oh, Pete! Pete! Pete, honey.
She ran over and was kneeling beside him, holding his head in her arms, rocking back and forth. Yeah, you guessed it. It was the same man I'd chased all afternoon. And he didn't live 5 seconds.
We'll return to Jeff Regan, Investigator, in just a moment. But first, here's an important message from the Adjutant General's office. At no time in our nation's history has it been more important to develop an outstanding Army medical department. Without an adequate nurse corps, this cannot be accomplished. And nurses are still needed to fill the estimated requirements for 1948. If you're a graduate registered nurse, over 21 and under 45, you are invited to apply for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. If you are selected, you may choose either active duty or inactive status. Apply to the Adjutant General, Washington 25, D.C. And now, back to the story of the lady with the golden hair. And Jeff Regan, Investigator.
After he came falling down the stairs at me and Flossie had a good cry over him, there wasn't anything to do but to call Central Homicide. They got there a few minutes later and went over the whole place, taking pictures and prints. Finally, a wagon pulled up, took what was left of Pete Berger down to the morgue. Detective Lieutenant Salvatore Wendetti, up to Homicide, asked everybody a lot of questions and shipped a couple of people downtown for a couple of different things and finally got around to me.
Regan, I think you ought to get yourself a new job. Every time the lion growls, you wind up with a corpse someplace and somebody has to ask you a question.
Well, it wasn't my idea, Sally.
I might have to book you on technical charge.
Oh, stop it, will you? You know I didn't have anything to do with him getting shot.
When the next car named Pete Berger gets topped off just before a private dick gets around asking him a few questions, I got to ask the private dick some questions myself, or else the chief is going to ask me some questions. Make sense?
All I know is that somebody's been shooting at a client of mine.
Mm-hmm. And that somebody's Pete Berger. How do you know?
The bullets came from a gun owned by Pete Berger, so I came down to see him.
Only he walks out all loaded down with 45 slugs and dies before you can say hello. Isn't that the bump? Who's your client, Regan?
Do I have to tell you?
No, but you will.
Company policy.
Company policy. Confidence in a client, Regan.
Can you arrest me for anything?
Depends. Material witness, maybe.
Yeah. While it's depending, I'll get a hold of the lion, he'll get a hold of Harry Presidio, and then I'll bet you $10 there'll be a writ of habeas corpus at the station by the time you get me there.
All right, you're clear. This is a murder case, Regan. That's a serious crime in anybody's town.
I don't know any more than I just told you, Sal.
You know the name of your client? Okay. Why was Pete shooting at him?
That's what I was going to ask Pete.
Oh, now just exactly where does that put us?
My client's safe and sound in his home, and Joe Canto's keeping an eye on him.
When Canto was pounding a beat for the department, some guys got away from him.
A lot of guys get away from a lot of cops, but not when the cop's watching. Canto's good at that, you know him.
Oh, sure. It's a thought.
Well, it's no good.
Before Pete Berger went to San Quentin, he was never very handy with a gun because his eyes were so bad he couldn't see his hand in front of his face.
He didn't hit anything yesterday or today, but he was sure trying.
Now, Flossie told me Pete's been playing stuntman in pictures, making a buck at it. It seems he learned all his tricks while he was in the clink. They have a nice gym up there. They never tell what they'll do next. Still, can't understand why he'd all of a sudden go around shooting at somebody.
You figure it, Sally.
Maybe there was something personal and that Pete had to do it. And whoever Pete was shooting at got kind of sore. Turn around and plug Pete tonight, huh?
My client's home, safe.
Sure. Canto's good. Almost forgotten. Pete Berger was a perfect setup for a wise guy. An ex-con who done 15 years, who learns his lesson, wants to make a straight dime, gets mad when anybody bothers him.
Blackmail.
It's been done before. Pete had a good, healthy bank balance. I guess he was saving up for his old age. But some wise guy finds out Pete's a con and says, I'll tell you, boss, unless you kick in. Then maybe Pete starts shooting to scare him into shutting up. Make sense?
Sounds like an old fairy tale, Sal.
But screwy enough to be the answer. Only this wise guy Pete's shooting at thinks Pete might be meaning business. So he just comes over here tonight and plugs Pete.
And who's the wise guy?
Your client. You aren't going to tell me his name?
I can't involve a client in a murder.
Oh, yeah, company policy. I almost forgot. Regan will find out in the morning. We got some lawyers, too.
I know.
Couldn't tell me now?
I'll phone you in an hour, Sally.
Okay, Regan, you can talk to him first. But phone me.
Good night.
Night, Regan. See you around.
My watch said 4 o'clock by the time I got to the hills back of Laurel Canyon and started up Mulholland Drive. The usual fog was in the usual places, doing the usual things to trees and houses. When I pulled up in front of Max's house, one light was burning in the window. The rest of the house looked dark. Everything was quiet. The first thing I noticed was cordite. It smells black, and it means that guns have been fired. The whole room was full of it. Max Fladney was lying half on the floor and half on the table he'd used for a workshop. A bottle of spirit gum was spilled on the floor along with some false blonde hair and a cracked wig block. He had one free arm around a white plaster cast of a head, just like it was a doll. There were 2 blue holes in the middle of his forehead. I just stood there looking at him when I heard a noise in back of me. It was Canto, and he was on the floor at the foot of the bed.
Oh, no, don't try to move me, Regan. I've been laying here waiting for you. It's in my lungs somewhere. I don't think I got any blood to spare. boy let you down. Oh. It happened an hour after you left. I don't know who done it. There was a lot of noise in Max's room, and I come in, and the next thing I knowed, I'm taking a slug myself. Hey, call me a doc, will you, Regan? I got a date tomorrow night. She's been trying to get rid of me. Just to give her a good excuse. Guess Lionel'll be mad, huh? Call me a doc, Regan, right quick.
Well, I made a lot of phone calls before it was all over. Hollywood Receiving Hospital, Windetti, Central Homicide, and I got the Lion out of bed and told him what had happened. He said he'd meet me at the hospital. I hung around a while and talked to Windetti. He didn't have much to say. When he got through poking around, he gave me a lift as far as the hospital. The Lion was standing around the hall when I got there. It was the first time I'd ever seen him look tired.
Hello, Regan. I just talked to the doctor. This is going to cost plenty.
How bad is it?
$25 a day for a room, plus surgery.
No, I mean Canto.
Oh. Bullet penetrated upper lobe of his right lung. Here, they pulled this out.
45 slug.
Who shoots 45s that good?
Lots of people.
Same kind of people who go around killing Pete Berger and Max Vladney.
Yeah.
Candle getting himself shot's going to eat up every penny we might have made on this thing.
Is money all you ever think of?
What else is there to think about? If you got it, you're fine. If you haven't got it, you're nothing but a bum.
One of your own men is lying in there wondering if he's ever going to live or die, and he took that slug because you sent him on the job.
Everybody dies. I'll give him a citation.
You big pile of blubber. I ought to push you out a window.
Now, talk like that isn't going to help anything.
No, but I know what
now,
is.
Now, wait a minute, Regan. This is a police job.
Oh, now it's a police job.
Yeah, like I told you. And you can't go running around sticking your snoot into a couple of killings and giving International a lot of bad publicity.
Now, get this, Fatso. I'm going out and find the guy who plugged Canto.
Now, you listen to me.
And I want it down in the books and the papers and any place else that an International operator brought in a guy who killed one of their clients and shot one of their men.
I won't be responsible for anything that happens.
Okay, if you don't like the way I do things, you can pull my license right off the wall and get yourself another boy.
Hey, where are you going? Come back.
Well, Mr. Regan, when I saw you at Max's yesterday afternoon, I didn't think you'd come by for that drink at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, come in. I was just having coffee. I have to be at the studio for an early makeup job.
You look all right to me, the way you are.
Well, you can be nice. Will you have some coffee?
No, thanks.
Oh?
I just stopped by for a minute. I'm afraid I have some tough news for you.
Max. Something happened to Max.
He's dead.
Oh, no. Not Max. Oh,
Somebody shot him 3 hours ago.
why would anyone want to kill Max?
That's what I'm going to find out.
Max expected me to marry him. So many plans. What can I do to help, Mr. Regan? What can I do?
All right, now look. A smart cop named Windetti is going to be knocking on your door pretty soon. He's going to ask you a lot of questions about Max. Give me the answers first.
Would you mind terribly if we sat down? Max was all I had. I want to be near someone.
Sure.
I know I'm acting silly about this. What is it I can tell you, Mr. Regan?
Did Max ever mention a man named Pete Berger?
No. Never heard that name before.
Well, he worked at the same studio. He was the one that shot at Max yesterday afternoon.
And he killed Max?
No, he's dead, too. He was shot to death an hour earlier. I was there.
I'm not very good at this kind of thing. What are you trying to tell me, Mr. Regan?
Both of these killings were done by an amateur, and not very good jobs. But there had to be some reason.
I don't know.
I've been in the business a long time, lady. Too long. People killed for money or love, or just for the crazy feel of blasting a gun at somebody.
This has been a lot for you.
You know, if you find a reason, you find a killer. What kind of work would a makeup man be doing at home?
I don't know. Max always tried to improve his work. But that's why he made the money he did.
He might have made a plaster cast of a head so he could study a face.
I suppose so. Yes.
Your face?
Yes, I suppose so. Why?
Well, it's a nice face. I've seen it in pictures.
Most press agents think my hair is nice hair.
Yeah, it is. Long, golden hair.
It feels soft and warm. The way you hoped it would feel.
Yeah, it does.
And my lips? I don't feel bad doing this. I never did love Max. I was indebted to him. I was terribly ill several years ago. He helped me.
I can see why he felt the way he did about you.
Can you? I like the way you did that.
I know what Max had been working on. It was something for you.
Really?
He was holding a plaster cast of your head in his arms when I found it. Of course, there was no hair on it, and it looked kind of funny.
Don't say that. Don't ever say a thing like that.
Yep, now I got it.
What are you talking about?
Murder, lady, lots of it. You killed a poor ex-con because he bungled a job you blackmailed him into doing. You shot him last night because I was going to talk to
You're
him.
crazy. Why would I do a thing like that?
Then you went over and you killed Max. And while you were at it, you pumped a slug or two into Joe
You think
Cano.
there's got to be a reason.
Every newspaper in the country's going to carry your story, lady. Oh, yeah. Hilda Graham, the one with all the long golden hair, is really as bald as a fresh egg.
Shut up! Shut up! Don't you ever say anything like that in front of me. Why do you...
Go ahead, lady. Pick up that paperweight and I'll break you in two. Now, come on. Let's go.
No. Oh, no, you can't. You mustn't. They'll find out about my hair. Please, please don't tell them about my hair. I couldn't stand that. Oh, please, please, you know how nice I can be.
Lady, you're a bum. Well, Max had been trying to get her to marry him, and she didn't want to marry anybody, so she killed him. The police stenographer scratched his head on that one until I explained it was her hair, that long golden hair. Only it wasn't hers. It was a wig that Max had fixed up for her. She'd lost all hers when she was sick and couldn't stand the thought of anybody going around knowing it wasn't her own. Yeah, I guess you run into all kinds. A couple of days later, I saw Canto at the hospital. He'd had some transfusions and a lot of other things. He was coming along fine. I was reading a paper when I walked in.
Oh, Ray. So what is what, son?
Hi, Joe.
I've been reading about that Hilda Graham. Too bad they don't take her picture without all that pretty hair. It'd serve her right.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Peachy. Regan, how long we been working for the line?
Too long.
How many people been killed and messed up in that time that me and you knows about personally?
Too many.
There's one thing I can't get through my nose. Why don't we get some other kind of a job? Real estate or movie extras or something. Why do we do it? Why do we do it, Jeff?
I don't know, Joe. I don't know.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS same time next week for trouble, suspense, and thrilling adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. The role of Max Vladney was played by Hans Conried, with Barton Yarborough as Joe Canto. Betty Lou Gerson was Hilda Graham. Jack Crucian was Wendetti. Marlo Dwyer was Flossie. Jeff Regan, Investigator is written by E. Jack Newman, produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with special music by Del Castillo. This program came to you from Hollywood. Bob Lamont speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You've been off duty 2 hours. You receive an emergency call from the chief of detectives. An entire block in the heart of your city is threatened with complete destruction. Your job? Report at once.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, November 15th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were off duty reporting in on an emergency call. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 8:32 a.m. when I walked in the Spring Street entrance of the City Hall.
You Sergeant Friday?
Yeah, that's right.
Take my elevator, Sergeant. It's the only one in service.
All right.
I'll run you up to 16. The chief's waiting for you up there.
What's the pitch? Only one elevator in service out of 10? The place looks deserted. What's going on?
Nobody in the building. All the office people been sent home. Lots of trouble.
Somebody declare a holiday?
No joke, Sergeant. Big trouble.
All right, you convinced me. What is it?
Here we are. 16th floor.
Over here, Friday.
Hi, Joe. Hello, Ben.
You made good time.
Came as soon as I got the call, Ed.
Sorry to have to bring you back in. You worked last night, didn't you?
Yeah, midnight to 8 this morning.
Sorry. Come on.
Okay.
What is it, Skipper? Why all the hush? Wait till we get inside. In here.
Okay.
Number one, let's keep our voices down.
You all right?
I'll make it as brief as I can. Every minute counts. What time you got, Friday?
8:33.
All right, here it is. 55 minutes ago, a man walked into this building with a homemade bomb under his arm. If we don't release his brother from the county jail by 9 o'clock this morning, he says he'll pull the trigger on the bomb and blow up the whole building.
He's kidding, Skipper. Who is the guy?
Name's Vernon Carney. Here's his package. He and his brother have been in and out of jail since 1937. Small-time thieves.
Yeah. Where's the FBI kickback? We had him once before, both of them.
Brother's name is Elwood, serving a year for car stripping.
And this two-bit thief is sitting here in the city hall with a bomb on his lap?
That's right. In the next room.
What kind of a bomb is it, Ed? You think he's bluffing?
Could be bluffing, but the crime lab says no.
Lee Jones from the lab get a look at it?
Been in there twice. One end of the box is glass. Says you can't see much without a closer look, but you can't get near the guy.
What do you want us to do?
It's a volunteer job. You can take it or leave it. I won't order you to do it.
How you want to handle it?
You sure you want a piece of this one, Romero?
No, he doesn't, Ed. He's got a family. Get me another single man. We'll give it a try.
Wait a minute, Joe. What makes this job so different? Anytime we kick a door in, we never know what's on the other side.
That's what makes it different. This time we do.
No, you're not going to cut me out. Not the only time I know what I'm getting into.
All right. Chandler's tried. Hannon, Davis, Watson, they've all tried. This guy Carney knows what he's doing. He's no pushover. But somebody's got to get that bomb away from him. Friday, Romero, it's your baby now.
I looked at my watch. It was 8:36. We left Backstrand and started down the hall. If Carney was going to make good his threat to blow up the building by 9 o'clock, we had exactly 24 minutes to talk him out of it. Ben and I figured we'd better look him over first and then work out some kind of a plan. Maybe just talking to him would do it. Vernon Carney was sitting in a straight-back chair against the far wall facing the door. He was seated between two windows that looked out over the city. Along the left wall was a row of 6 wooden chairs. In the center of the right wall was a connecting door leading to the office where Backstrand had briefed us. The door was locked on both sides. Just off-center and favoring the left of the room was a small filing table. The other furniture in the office was a desk just forward of the connecting door on the right. There was a dictaphone on the desk. In the near left corner, shielded by a white screen, was a small wash basin. The faucet leaked. Vernon Carney was middle-aged. He sat erect, holding a black box on his lap. He held his right hand inside one end of the box. Ben and I stood there for a minute and looked at him. Then we walked in the room. What do you say to a man with a bomb?
I
That's close enough.
Cigarette, Carney?
I'm not smoking right now.
What are you trying to prove?
You know what I want?
We're not going to let your brother out of jail.
You got until 9 o'clock to change your mind. According to that clock on the wall, you got 24 minutes.
If we go, you're going with us, Carney.
Don't take much of a brain to figure that, copper.
What made you think you could get away with this?
Haven't yet. It ain't 9 o'clock. Unless that clock's slow. Haven't checked it against my pocket watch lately. That's the one that's running this show.
Have you given any thought to all the innocent people that are going to go up with that thing of yours there?
My brother's innocent. I want him out of jail.
The court says he's guilty. He'll get out when he serves his time.
That's where you're wrong, copper. He gets out at 9 o'clock this morning.
All right, come on, Carney. Get your hand out of that box. Put the box on the table.
You think I'm bluffing, don't you? I'm going to let you get within 5 feet before I make a liar out of you.
Okay, Carney. I guess you mean business.
You can take 3 more steps and find out for sure.
Suppose we did let your brother out. We'd just come out and pick him up again, you along with him?
If you could find us.
Let's get this straight. If we let your brother Elwood out, how do we know you're going to keep your promise?
What promise? I ain't made any promises. You just get Elwood down here first, and then we'll talk about it.
There's only one thing I can't figure, Carney.
Yeah, what's that?
If we don't let your brother out, you say you'll pull the trigger on that bomb. You're going to kill a lot of innocent people. What are you going to prove by that?
It's 8:37. You've got 23 minutes left.
No, I wish you'd answer that one for me. Why do you want to kill a lot of innocent people?
Don't try to con me, copper. I know they cleared everybody out of this building 45 minutes ago. I know they cleaned out the whole block. They got it roped off.
Where'd you get your information?
I got a couple of windows here to look out of. Don't you think it's about time to send somebody over to get Elwood?
You know, Carney, we've got a way out of this. We don't have to let your brother out neither.
I've heard that before.
What's to stop us from leaving the building along with the other few officers and let you sit here and touch off that bomb?
Go ahead. It won't be a long wait without you. Who are you trying to kid? You'd let me blow up $10 million worth of taxpayers' money? No. You're going to let Elwood out. You'll wait till the last minute to do it, but you'll let him out.
Ed, I'm still not convinced Carney can back up what he says.
Then why didn't you take the box away from him?
Yeah.
We're in a spot, let's face it.
How about an eye for an eye, Skipper?
What do you mean?
If he pulls the trigger on that machine, he kills us. How about us getting him first?
All right, Romero. How are you going to handle it?
Well, I'm not top man on the pistol range, but I could wing him.
And then he hands the box to you? Or maybe he falls and his reflex action pulls the trigger.
Okay, I don't wing him. I stop him for keeps.
You just can't walk in there and shoot him down.
Why not? You do the same thing with an armed criminal?
Yeah, but you warn him first.
I'll warn him.
Yeah, and after you shoot him, you find out it's a harmless gadget. Couldn't have gone off in a million years.
No, a gun's not the answer. We can't shoot him until we're positive.
We'll be positive by 9 o'clock, and there might not be anybody around to shoot him.
We've located Carney's apartment. There's a detail out there checking it now. Pacelli and Morris.
Ed, have you got any ideas at all? Anything we could try?
That's why I called you in. None of us have gotten any further than you did just now.
There's just one thing I want to know for sure.
Yeah, Friday. Is it or isn't it? We all want to know.
Either way, we've got to get that box away from us.
Backstrand. Yeah. You did? Yeah. No, stay out there till I call you. All right, here's half the answer. That was Pacelli. They found 28 sticks of dynamite in Carney's apartment.
We knew Carney wasn't kidding now. We could see into the bomb through that glass window in one end. It looked like dynamite inside, and there was dynamite in Carney's room. We didn't know if he had the nerve to pull the trigger. We didn't know if it would go off when he did. But with only minutes remaining, nobody wanted to take the chance. From here on in, all of us agreed that Vernon Carney sat in the next room, holding in his two hands a force powerful enough to destroy us all. We had to get that box away from him, and to get that box, we had to have a plan. I looked at my watch. It was 8:40. 20 minutes till 9 o'clock.
How do we get it away from him?
I got an idea. It might work.
Let's have it.
Carney's sitting against the far wall between two windows. They're both open.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, if we could get a man through one of those windows, we might get Carney from behind.
How are you going to get him?
Whoever gets through the window could slug him.
What do you do then?
Somebody grabs the box. The crime lab can tell us what to do with it.
How do we get a man through one of those windows? We're on the 16th floor.
Oh, there's some kind of a ledge that runs around the building on each story.
Wide enough for a man to walk on?
Hey, let's take a look.
All right.
Looks pretty narrow, Joe.
That's a good 18 inches. Could be done.
Not too risky. It's raining out. That ledge is slippery.
Strong wind up there, Joe. Tear a man right off the building.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, there's still a way. How about a ladder?
16 floors, Skipper.
There might be a way. The fire department would know that. I'll get Battalion Chief Erickson.
Is Lee Jones in the building?
No, he's over in the crime lab. I'll get him up here, too. I don't know, Friday. Maybe it'll work.
It's got to, Ed.
All right, now look. It's going to take a couple of minutes to set this up. We've got to know what Carney's doing every second of that time.
Well, how about the dictaphone in there on the desk?
Good. Get it on without him seeing you.
We'll try.
The dictaphone in there is connected to this one in here. This room is 1614. You got that?
Yeah.
All right, push down key 1614 on that machine in there and leave it down. Get the receiver off the hook and leave it off.
Leave the receiver off.
That's right. You know, if it isn't off the hook, we won't be able to hear a thing in here.
Right. Come on, Ben.
This is Backstrand. Give me Chief Erickson.
Where's my brother?
Still in his cell?
You coppers are long on talk, but short on time.
Yeah, we know.
I'm telling you, for your own good, you'd better get Elwood over here.
Carney, I'll bet if we get your brother on the phone here, he'll tell you he doesn't want any part of this.
You mean Elwood don't want out? Since when?
Sure he wants out, but not your way.
He's only got a year to serve. Why don't you leave him alone?
I told him I'd get him out. He didn't think I could do it. But I'm doing it.
I'll make you a bet, Carney. Let us get your brother on the phone. He won't walk out of here with you.
All right, get him on the pipe. Where you going? The phone's over here.
Have to use the dictaphone. Got to get an okay from the chief. Elwood's still a prisoner.
What's the matter with the phone?
No operators. You know the building's been cleared.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Almost forgot. Okay, you can use the dictaphone.
This Friday, Ed. Carney wants to talk to his brother. Yeah, I know you'll have to send somebody over. Have them put the call on extension... wait a minute. What's that extension number, Ben?
2351.
2351, Ed. Right. It'll take a minute.
Yeah. I'd kind of like to talk to El. Been a couple of months since I seen him. We've always been together, me and El, most of the time.
Joe, let's go and see if we can hurry that call.
Good idea, boy. 16 minutes to 9. Hey, cop.
Yeah.
Forgot to hang up the dictaphone, didn't you?
I put the receiver back on the dictaphone. Ben and I had failed to make good on the first step of the plan. When we got outside the door, we briefed Davis and Watson. They went in to sit with Carney. It would be their job to keep us posted on Carney's movements. The dictaphone was out. We went back into the office next door. Chief Sam Erickson of the fire department and Lieutenant Lee Jones from the crime lab were already there. We told Backstrand what happened.
It would have been a help. We haven't got time to cry over it.
Carney's wide awake, Skipper. He doesn't miss a thing.
Backstrand told us the plan Friday. We can't run a ladder up from the street.
Too high, Chief?
Best we got is a 100-foot area. You figure 12 foot to the story, that'll take you up 96 feet, 8 floors. And we've got the latest equipment.
What's the idea you had, Jones?
Sam, can you get hold of a pump here in a hurry?
Sure, we got a lot of scaling ladders, but you got nothing up there to hook 'em on.
You figure on dropping down from the floor above?
That's right, and I figure a pump here would do it.
Sure it would. You could make it fast to the windowsill up there, but you got a 1.5 ledge in the way. No, what you want is a lifeline.
You mean lower a man on a rope, Chief?
Yeah, Romero. That's the quickest and the quietest.
Could you rig it so one of my boys could do it?
Sure, Ed.
What's the risk?
None if you work it right. We'll strap on a life belt. Give the man heavy leather gloves. 2 of my men will lower him down. Pick your lightest man.
What do you think, Lee?
That's it.
What do we do with the bomb when we get it?
I figure that box Carney's holding is about a foot square. Here's what I'll do. I'll get you a bucket with a 1.5 foot mouth. It'll be full of water.
Yeah?
I'll have it right outside the door to that office. When you get that box, place it in the water. We'll get the bucket out of the building as fast as we can.
And once we get the bomb underwater, we're in the clear.
And I can't promise you that, but it's the safest way to handle it under the circumstances.
All right, that's the procedure. Sam, you take care of your end.
Right away.
I'll get a detail to give me a hand down on the street. We'll have a car ready to take the bomb to a safe area to decommission it.
Work as fast as you can.
Come on, Sam.
It's our baby, Joe.
That's right.
Which part of it you want, the rope or the bomb?
You call it.
Fire Chief Erickson says the lightest man on the rope.
That's me, Joe.
All right, I'll get the bomb out of the building.
Okay, that's the routine. But carry this with you. The man that comes down that rope has one chance to make good. You slug him and make it count because there's no second try.
Yeah.
And, Joe, when you grab that box, you got to get it away from Carney before he can squeeze the trigger. Then you got to get it down into the street.
The elevator.
You know how to operate it?
Well, it's pretty simple, but I'll double-check with the operator.
Better do it right now.
Okay. Ed, we better get Carney's brother on the phone for him. He seemed anxious.
Might be a pretty good stall.
All right, Romero. That's the outside phone. Get the city jail.
Right, Skipper.
Get going, Friday.
Okay. You. Elevator man.
Yeah, Sergeant.
Let me see if I know how to work that thing.
You taking over the elevator?
Well, in a couple of minutes. You want to check me out?
Nothing to it, Sergeant.
All right.
Now, here's the control, see? You push this lever right to go up, left to go down. You see this little trigger on the underside of the handle?
Yeah.
That's the safety lock. Be sure you squeeze it or you can't move the lever.
Let me try it, huh?
That's it. Right to go up, left to go down.
Right to go up, left to go down. How do you operate the doors?
Automatic. They work off the control lever. When the control lever is locked in the up or down position, the doors will close.
I get it.
Now, in case they jam, this red emergency button up here?
Yeah.
Push it. If that doesn't close them, we call the repairman.
Okay, I think I got it.
You sure now? I've had my orders to get out of the building. I'll just leave the elevator right here and take the stairs down.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Sergeant, just curious. You going to take the bomb down in this car?
We're going to try.
You won't have any trouble. We haven't had an elevator failure in 18 months.
The elevator man turned and went down the stairs. Outside of a handful of volunteers and a man with a bomb, the city hall was now cleared. I started down the corridor and met Ben outside the office. He told me that Lee Jones and Chief Erickson were on their way up in the freight elevator at the rear of the building with the necessary equipment. The 2 fire department volunteers were with them. The phone call had been put through to the city jail, and in a moment, Elwood Carney would be ready at the other end of the line. We went in to tell Carney.
I told him over at the jail to put the call through on extension 2351.
Yeah. When's it coming through?
Right now.
You got Elwood with you?
No.
Look, Carney, we told you we'd get him on the phone for you. The call will be through in a minute.
A minute's a long time, cop. You only got 12 of them left.
Elwood's going to talk you out of this.
Oh, sure. Sure, everybody's going to talk me out of this. First it was them other 2 cops, the little Porky guy and that other monkey. Then you and this Dixie Doughhead here. Now it's Elwood. Come off it, will you, and get my brother over here.
That's him.
It's your brother, Connie. I'll get him.
Stay put, you.
Just going to get the phone. You want to talk to your brother, don't you?
I'll take care of the phone. We'll disconnect it for a while. Now get it straight, copper. I'm through with your stinking rotten lying. I want Elwood here. And I want him now. Bring him here before I blow you all to pieces.
What's going on? Who threw that phone out in the hall?
I did. You want me to go out and pick it up?
Carney, that's not going to get you anyplace.
You the big boss around here?
Maybe.
Why you are, aren't you?
I answered you.
All right, big boy. I've got a piece of advice for you. Take your rookie cops here and get it through their heads I mean what I say. I want my brother over here in this room. And you've got just 11 minutes to get it done. Tell them that, will you, boy?
All right, Carney. It's your show. All right, we got to work fast now. Jones, everything set for you?
Got the bucket with the water right here. Car's waiting down the street.
Right. Erickson, your boys ready?
Upstairs, waiting.
And we all know what to do.
Ed, I got to have somebody to give me a hand with Carney when he falls.
I'll be in there with you Friday.
Ready to go upstairs, Chief?
Anytime. Oh, one thing you ought to know.
What's that?
Strong wind coming up. About 20 miles an hour out there right now.
That going to louse us up?
No, but it's going to increase the sway. Got to allow for it.
How you mean?
Wind's coming from the south. We'll lower you just to the right of the window. If I figure it correctly, the wind will do the rest. Bigger risk, but we don't control the weather.
How you going to do it, Ben?
As soon as I get in position, I'll reach in through the window on his right. I'll use the billy. Try to catch him on the right side of his head. One good hit should put him away.
Let's make it 2 and be sure, huh?
Right. You ready, Chief?
Now, let's go.
Ben.
Yeah?
Nothing.
I'll be careful. You too, huh?
What's the time, Friday?
8:50.
Shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes for Romero to get down to that window, unless the wind gives him trouble.
Jones, no use you sticking around.
I'll give Friday a hand.
That's my job. We've got to keep you alive to decommission the bomb.
Bum joke. See you downstairs.
You ready, Ed?
Yeah. Scared, Friday?
Yeah.
That makes us even. Come on.
Ed Backstrand and I went into the next room with Vernon Carney. Our job was to keep him occupied until Ben was lowered to the windowsill from the floor above. Ben was going to make a try from the window on Carney's right. Somehow, we had to keep Carney's attention on us and away from that window. If anything went wrong and Kearney got out of position, the plan would fail. If Ben was spotted, the plan would fail. If Chief Erickson didn't estimate the force of the wind correctly, the plan would fail. After Ben slugged Kearney, my timing had to be perfect. If it wasn't, the plan would fail. I looked at my watch. It was 8 minutes to 9.
Kearney, anything we can say that'll make you change your mind?
I've asked you 100 times. Now I'm ordering you. You're going to get to a phone and have somebody send Elwood over here right now. I'm through waiting. Now move.
You ripped out the phone, Kearney.
Well, find another one. I told you I'm sick of your 2 bits stalling.
We've got until 9 o'clock to make up our mind about this.
You had until 9. But you wouldn't do what I told you. Now I'm cutting you short. You guys have got exactly 1 minute to get a phone in this room where I can hear you call the jail and have them send Elwood over here.
You said 9, Kearney.
All right, Joe. We'll give him what he wants.
Davis, unlock the connecting door to this office.
I'll get the phone, Ed.
Will the cord reach?
Yeah.
Your brother's a prisoner. He's in our custody and he's under our protection. We can't place his life in jeopardy.
Why not leave it up to Al?
Here's the phone, Ed.
Yeah. Kenworthy, this is Backstrand. We want Elwood Kearney over here at City Hall. His brother wants to see him. Explain the situation. If he wants to come, get him over here. Leave it up to him. Room 1614. You'll have to use the freight elevator.
And tell him to hurry.
Yeah. Tell him to hurry.
That's the only smart thing you've done today. Now, why don't you go next door and figure out another angle?
We'll wait for Elwood, too.
You don't think I'd let you get out now, do you? We're all going to wait right here for my brother. In case he don't show up, you're going to see me pull the plug. Just sit down. Not so close. Right where you are, sit down. Loud clock, ain't it? Windy. Getting cold in here. Sure a loud clock. Real windy. Maybe I ought to close the windows. Don't want to catch me a cold.
I turn on the heat.
Stay put, cop. Hey, what's that? What's going on?
Just the wind,
Shut
Kearney.
up! There's somebody out there. I can see his feet. You stupid cops. Pull him up! Get back there, you! Pull him up!
Friday told him to pull him up.
Right. All right, Kearney. You win.
You bet I win, you dumb coppers. You didn't think I'd miss a trick like that? We'll just close these windows, boys. There's one, and lock it. And
Here's your brother, Kearney.
Yeah. Hi, Al.
Hi, Vern. You did it.
I told you. I told you I'd do it, didn't I? That's far enough for the rest of you. Al, come on over here.
You're crazy, Vern. You're crazy.
Yeah, that's what they've been trying to tell me. We're going home, Al.
How are you going to do it? There's a million cops outside. People all over town heard about this. They're holding the crowd back.
They ain't going to stop us now, Al.
You'll never make it. Either one of you.
I got him this far, didn't I? We'll make it.
Vern, you think we could do it?
Hey, you.
Yeah.
You're going to get a car ready for us, a fast one. Have it in front of the building. Move!
All right, Friday, do what he tells you.
Right.
Hold it.
Yeah.
If you ain't back by 9 o'clock, the deal still holds. I told him I'd pull the pin at 9, Al, if they didn't let you out.
You ain't fooling, are you, Vern? Will that gadget really blow?
4 miles high. You know what that means, Al?
Yeah, but they won't let you pull it. We're getting out.
All right, Copper. Get the car. You got 4 minutes.
Hey, Ben. What happened? He spot me?
Yeah, there's no time to explain. Now, listen. We got to work fast.
Yeah.
We had to bring Kearney's brother over from the jail. I don't think he cares if they get out or not. He just wants to use that bomb, and for some crazy reason, he's waiting until 9.
How much time we got?
Let me look. Less than 4 minutes.
How about the ledge?
You think you can do it? Strong wind. You'll have to hang on like a fly.
I don't know. I can give it a try.
Okay. Same plan. Every second counts. Now, I can't brief Ed. He's in the room with the guy. It's up to you and me.
I'll get on the ledge from one of these offices. I hope I make it.
If you don't, we'll know you tried. Hurry. Hey, Ben, wait a minute.
Yeah?
I forgot. The windows. The one on his right. He locked it. You'll have to crawl around to the one on the left. You got it?
Right.
Okay. The car will be ready in 2 minutes. Out front.
Fine. El and I'll just sit here and wait. Gonna be good being back together, huh, El?
We always were real good together, Vern.
Yeah, that's the way brothers ought to be together all the time. Together.
Vern, I'd feel better with a gun.
We don't need no gun, El. We got the bomb.
We'll need a gun when we get out, when we get on the road.
Okay. Take your pick. They all got 'em. Hey, you, give him yours.
I'm not carrying a gun. I left it in the other room.
A cop without a gun? Who's kidding who?
I left it in the other room.
Frisk the big boy, El. He's got one. About time for the car, ain't it? 2 minutes to 9.
Yeah, this feels like it. Right on his hip. Hey, Vern, look out! Oh, grab him, Joe. I got him.
Yeah.
Get the box.
Leave that gun alone. I got him, Ben. I gotta get his hand out of it.
Run, Joe. Get it in the water. Run!
In a fast elevator, 16 floors isn't very much, but I've never shared an elevator with a live bomb. It seemed like minutes between floors. I kept watching the bucket. The bomb was completely underwater. A small stream of bubbles was hissing to the surface. I waited. Main floor. I picked up the bucket and ran for the street. I missed the first step. I fell forward. The bucket spun out of my hand. I sprawled flat on the sidewalk. I waited for the explosion.
It didn't go off Friday.
I gave it a good chance, Lee.
It was all there. Look, at least a dozen sticks of dynamite. Snyder, bring that over here.
Here you are, Lieutenant.
Thanks. Here's why it didn't go off. Had it rigged for a hard trigger pull. Would have taken a good yank to set this one off.
Yeah.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, man.
Clumsy.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Vernon Carney was examined by 5 different psychiatrists appointed by the Superior Court and was found to be incompetent. He is now confined in the State Mental Institution for the criminally insane. Elwood Carney is now serving the balance of his sentence with no time off for good behavior. You have just heard the 7th in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Town Marshal Lon T. Larson of the Mount Pleasant, Utah Force, who, on the night of October 15th, 1945, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Ladies and gentlemen, the material and direct quotations included in the following program have been taken from authoritative files and from dispatches filed by the Associated Press and International News Service. We present these statements without editorial comment. We assume no responsibility for their content.
The American Broadcasting Company presents 1 out of 7. 24 hours make a day, 7 days make 1 week. And from these past 7 days, the editors here in our San Francisco newsroom have chosen the one story which they have judged most worthy of retelling. This is 1 out of 7.
Theodore Gilmore Bilbo is an honorable man. As a member of the United States Senate, he is looked upon as such by the eyes of the law. Perhaps he is looked upon as such by many or most of his constituents. Though his voice occasionally grate upon the nerves, and his views often confound the innocent, the fact remains, as a member of the Senate of the United States, Theodore Gilmore Bilbo is an honorable man, and we do not intend to prove otherwise. We merely wish to cite a few samples of his handiwork, and perhaps a supplementary side glance or two, just for the sake of contrast. Adjust your dials most carefully, citizens. Herewith presenting Senator Theodore Bilbo, picture number 1. Scene: the chamber of the Mississippi State Legislature. Time, March 23rd, 1944. The Speaker.
The chair recognizes our distinguished guest, the Honorable Theodore Bilbo, United States Senator from the state of Mississippi. Gentlemen, at this moment, I cannot urge you too strongly to continue the valiant fight to uphold our racial integrity. We must renew our faith and allegiance to the color line. For your information, I have found that certain Negro organizations are determined to secure passage of anti-poll tax measures. It's their first wedge toward the fulfillment of a dastardly equality program which Negro leaders have launched throughout the South and throughout the nation. That equality they must not and will not attain.
After his stirring appeal to the legislature, Senator Bilbo informs a small group of friends in confidential tones.
You know, gentlemen, I found out that a prominent national official asked southern colleges and universities to open their doors to Negroes. You know what I told him? Well, I'll tell you what I told him. I said, Negroes will never get into our universities. You Negro-loving Yankees can go straight.
As a member of the Senate of the United States, Theodore Bilbo is an honorable man, and we do not intend to prove otherwise. Here is picture number 2.
Hello, Senator Bilbo speaking.
Senator, this is Representative Mark Antonio of New York speaking.
Yes, what do you want?
Senator, I just got a letter from a lady who lives in my district. It seems that she wrote you that letter about your filibustering against the FEPC. Well, she says she stated her case fairly. And she also says that as a reply, you wrote her one of the dirtiest letters possible.
Well, yes, I think I did.
Well, Senator, she also says you addressed her with the greeting, "My dear Dago." Is that correct?
Of course that's correct. That's what I called her. She's a wop, ain't she?
That lady's Italian, Senator,
Yeah, that's what you mean. I just thought you'd like to know that the lady has 3 brothers in the Army in Europe. One of them has been killed in action already. You know, if you had a shred of decency in you, you'd apologize for that letter.
I'll never apologize why she's getting off light. Now, listen, she really would have been scorched if I was mad.
Theodore Bilbo is an honorable man. We do not intend to prove otherwise. Here is picture number 3. Scene, the chamber of the United States Senate. Time, the 30th of June, 1945. Senator Bilbo is filibustering against passage of the Fair Employment Practices Commission, and during his prolonged dissertation to the gentlemen of the Senate, the following occurs.
The senator from Mississippi may continue. Thank you. Gentlemen, I have been hearing much talk about the supposed bravery of our Negro soldiers. I have it on good authority and from some of the highest-ranking generals in our army that our Negro troops overseas are an utter and abysmal failure. They're just no good. And as for giving them a vote, why, they'd only sell their votes to the highest bidder anyway, so why give it to them in the first place?
At the same moment, deep in the jungle of an embattled Pacific island, a Negro soldier pens a note back home to his family. And maybe this works pretty hard, Margaret, but it's a job that you just have to do. It's been 3 days now, got no sleep. Their bombers are still paying us visits. And it still doesn't look like the war's going to be over soon. But we have to keep on. Just keep on. I know. I just know everything's going to turn out all right. And when we finally get back, the folks will realize what we've done. And I'll bet they look at us differently. You know, for the first time, they'll see that bullets can kill anybody. They'll see, black or white, when blood runs out on the ground, it's all the same color.
That's what the Negro GI thought. But back in the chamber of the United States Senate, Theodore Bilbo thought differently. I have it on good authority, and from some of the highest-ranking generals in our army, that our Negro troops overseas are an utter and abysmal failure.
When Senator Bilbo made that statement, he was standing under the roof of the United States Senate. It is very safe in the United States Senate. A bomb hasn't fallen there for quite some time. You must understand, please, this is merely a portrait, an interesting portrait, of a duly elected representative of the American people. For you see, Theodore Bilbo is an honorable man, and we do not wish or intend to prove otherwise. Here is picture number 4. Though the senator has firm convictions on certain subjects, there is seen a mounting tide of sentiment equally firm, equally convinced that the senator errs. On the 10th of August, 1940. Senator Bilbo, it is the opinion of the Committee of Catholics for Human Rights that your conduct toward racial minorities is a chilling deterrent to worldwide belief that America is the symbol of democratic freedom and human rights. In a recent statement to the press, you attacked the Jewish people of the United States on the grounds that their race had damned and crucified Christ. You used this highly metaphysical argument to damn, vilify, besmirch, and otherwise persecute the Jewish people in America to further your own political ends. By lucid contrast, a few days after his attack on the Jews, Senator Bilbo is stricken suddenly with a strange ailment. He is put aboard a train and speeds northward for treatment. And is it not strange that the senator demands to be taken to the Mayo Clinic? Is it not strange when you consider that the Mayo Clinic was founded and operated by the Mayo brothers, two members of the Jewish race professing the Jewish faith? But obviously, the senator is not loath to take advantage of the skill of the Jewish race. In the end, the senator's critical operation is a success, and in a few weeks he returns to the floor of the Senate with another plan for the American Negroes.
Gentlemen, for the best interest of the nation and all concerned, I believe a colony for American Negroes should be established on the west coast of Africa, bordering the state of Monrovia. Because of the exigencies of the times, any Negro who is race conscious and smart should be ready and more than willing to settle down in such a colony in West Africa.
The very same day in the halls of the Senate, hallowed by the figures of men the likes of Lincoln and Jefferson, Theodore Bilbo, as a representative of the American people, had this to say. I cannot vote for the appointment of Mrs. Franklin Roosevelt as delegate to the United Nations Organization for the United States. No. She is a woman who has professed friendship for the Negro elements in America. She has no place representing us abroad.
Mr. President, the chair recognizes the senator from Idaho.
Mr. President, I should like to congratulate the senator from Mississippi. He doesn't know it, but he's just paid a splendid compliment to Mrs. Roosevelt by voting against her. Mr. President, gentlemen, please, I'd like to add one more note. A word of warning to our senator from the South. It isn't going to be long now, Senator, before the people of Mississippi see the light and knock you out of office on that part of your anatomy where your few brains are undoubtedly located. You must understand, please, this was merely a portrait. An interesting portrait of a representative of the American people. For, after all, Senator Theodore Gilmore Bilbo is an honorable man. He is looked upon as such by the eyes of the law. He is an honorable man. We did not intend to prove otherwise.
For 1 out of 7 is written by James Edward Moser. Gil Dowd is the producer, and music by Otto Clare at the Hammond organ. The material used in tonight's program was taken from authoritative files and from dispatches by Associated Press and International News Service. Listen next week, same time, same station, for 1 out of 7. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting.
Ladies and gentlemen, the material and quotations used on the following program are taken from authentic news reports off the wires of Associated Press and International News Service. We present this material without editorial comment, since this station takes no official stand on any controversial question. We can, therefore, assume no responsibility for the attitude such statements reflect.
From San Francisco, the American Broadcasting Company presents 1 out of 7. "24 hours make a day, 7 days make 1 week.
And from these past 7 days, the editors here in our San Francisco newsroom have chosen the one story which they have judged most worthy of retelling. This is 1 out of 7.
We're not here to tell you what is good or what is evil, or to tell you what is right and what is not right. Being only men as you are, and thus being as moral or as immoral as you are, we refuse to mount the seat of judgment to pass sentence on those as guilty or as innocent as we claim ourselves to be. Now, we ask only that you pause, observe, and reflect. You have an intelligence of your own. Judge these actions for yourself. Last week, beneath the spacious skies of America the Beautiful, in the valleys of the amber grain and the fruited plain, and in the city towers looming high with the majesty of purple mountains, the people rejoiced and rededicated themselves in a nationwide Brotherhood Week. Lofty and ideal were the speeches of Brotherhood Week. Stirring and altruistic were the pledges and promises of Brotherhood Week. Godly and charitable were the aims of Brotherhood Week. But there are 2 families in San Francisco who are asking questions. 2 families. City desk, Martin.
Say, boss, here's a pretty fair yarn on an eviction case. You want it?
Yeah, sure. What's it all about?
Well, it seems there's a gentleman out in one of the residential districts who objects to the presence of a Filipino family in the neighborhood. There's also a Chinese family living nearby that, it doesn't appeal to him either.
Yeah, go on.
Well, this gentleman says that the fact that these 2 families are living near him detracts from the value of his property.
Well, what's the matter? Does he have something against them?
Oh, no, nothing like that, boss. He just says that when he moved there, he was told that it was a neighborhood for white people. White people only. One of those restricted deals, you know? Well, now he's filing suit to have them evicted. Says he's losing money if they stay.
What about the 2 families? What have they got to say?
Well, they're plenty burned up about it. They're organizing, to fight the Neighbor Boosters Club who's behind this gentleman. One of the members of the Filipino family is, he's a Navy veteran, and he gave me a pretty good quote.
Well, go ahead. Let's have it.
Okay, boss. He says, is this what we've been fighting for? To have a bunch of stay-at-homes throw us out of our house?
No, we're not here to tell you what is right and what is wrong. We wish merely to report that last week the nation observed Brotherhood Week. In the churches and town halls throughout the country, the people rededicated themselves to the principles of tolerance and charity of the Founding Fathers. Columbia, Tennessee. A little more than 24 hours ago, the worst racial disorder in years, brought about by rumors of threatened lynching of Negroes, sweeps the city. 500 highway patrolmen raid a 2-block area in the Negro section of the town where the non-white are carefully segregated. Armed with pistols and machine guns, the huge force of police search every Negro building in the area. Under the command of the State Director of Public Safety, the patrolmen fire withering blasts through the windows of the homes of the buildings. Groups of the Negroes huddle behind barricaded doors, answer the machine gun fire with 2 or 3 scattered shots. More than 40 Negroes are arrested during the raid. The State Director of Public Safety describes the police exploit as a success. The origin of the bloody race riot is not clear, but it is reported that it started when a Negro woman and her son had a fight with a Navy veteran. The Negro couple were arrested, and it was then, according to one Negro, that the lynching rumor fired the town. Isn't that right? Well, we heard that the white men were going to have a lynching party tonight, and, we didn't like that. We didn't want any killing to start again.
And so, brethren, let us again renew our faith in Christian charity, in the principles of brotherhood that Christ himself handed down to us. And let us again resolve to act and live by the precept that we are all brothers, regardless of the color of our skin or the creed we profess, that we are all brothers in the house of the Lord.
We're not here to pass judgment on what is good and what is evil. We wish merely to report that last week, in a nationwide celebration marked by pledge and promise, the people observed the annual custom of Brotherhood Week. In a large eastern city, time, Thursday of last week, a Jewish newspaper editor and his family stand outside their burning home, huddled in firemen's capes against the cold of the early winter morning. I'm from headquarters, Mr. Byrne. I heard about how the fire started in your house. Do you expect anybody or suspect anybody in particular? Well, no, I could not tell you the name of the man. I don't think I know him. But lately I've been receiving phone calls and a few letters, too, warning me about the editorials I've been writing in my district newspaper.
Well, what were those phone calls and letters all about, Mr. Byrne?
Well, they said I was trying to make our district into a ghetto and a Negro colony because I've been opposing a drive by the neighborhood club to keep out all the Jews, Negroes, Italians, Chinese. I think you know, officer. You must have heard.
Yeah, I've heard, Mr. Byrne. I guess this is their answer, huh?
Yes. Tonight there was another telephone call, and then about 1 o'clock, my wife and I...
All right, George. Light the torches and let them fly. We'll teach that Jew a lesson he won't forget. Come on, let's get out of here.
You see, it is not our place to pass sentence on the incident. For we're only men as moral or as immoral as you are, or as they are. We wish only to point out that last week was Brotherhood Week. Several appropriate speeches were made, and the people as a whole pledged themselves to tolerance and charity. The annual observance was acclaimed a success throughout the nation, priests and ministers. This is a story which probably will not receive the circulation it deserves. It concerns an incident which occurred last week at a southeastern Navy station here in the United States. And if my guess is right, it should give many a citizen cause to stop and ponder the worth and aims of our lately won victory. It all happened in one of the mess rooms at this particular Navy base, where a group of officers...
Now, look, I don't care what anybody says. It's all the fault of the Jews. Now, look, I was in the Pacific, yeah. And all the time we're sweating it out over there, the big Jews back in the States are demanding that we defeat Germany first, while the men in the Pacific starve and sweat it out. Now, no. You can't tell me a thing about those Jews, brother. I know exactly what they're like. You can have them.
I beg your pardon, Commander. I'm a Jew, and I think you're very mistaken in what you say.
Well, now listen here, Mr. Goldstein. You're a lieutenant. The Constitution may say that I have to serve in the same Navy with Jews, but there are no Navy regulations that say I have to eat at the same table with them.
Now, you other gentlemen will excuse me. Last week was Brotherhood Week. Last week was Brotherhood Week. Down through the rain, down through the wet, glistening street he came, his head bared, his frayed coat collar pulled tightly around his neck, a wide, ugly cut on his forehead, still bleeding, a monstrous bruise covering the side of his face. But strangely, I noticed he walked straight up, his head high. He came up and he stood beside me at the bus stop. And after a while he said, You are wondering about me. Is that not so? This cut on my head and this bruise on my face? Why, yes, as a matter of fact, I was wondering about... Yeah, well, it looks like a pretty nasty cut, mister. Tell me, how'd you get it? Well, it all happened so suddenly, I still cannot remember everything. I try. Tonight, like every Wednesday night, we have our meeting down in the hall on the west side of the city, you know? Yeah, I know where that hall is. Well, on Wednesdays, the people who are of my race, well, we all meet together to learn about our new country, to study the language, and to try to be better Americans. But tonight, we have some visitors. They are a group of men, and they say, we cannot stay here because this town is for people of their race only. We say we will not go. And then there is a big fight. The men wreck our clubroom, they smash our furniture, and they fight with us. They tell us in loud voices, get out, stay out. But we fight back because we know the laws. The laws say these men are wrong. Oh, but the laws, they are not everything, are they? Well, no, they're not, mister. You'll find that out. Yes, we have found it out already. There are many things different about America than first I thought. Well, now, I must cross the street to the church. Would you like to come with me? I do not pray, you know. But I like to stand there in the church and say these things. It makes me feel better inside here after what has happened tonight. Well, I crossed the street with him and I went into the church. We sat down in one of the pews far back in one of the dark corners of the church. A few candles flickered uncertainly up at the altar. And after a long moment, he turned to me and he said, I do not hate these men who do such things. I am not bitter against them. Only I have so much pity for them. For is it not true? They are like frightened little children, afraid, running around looking for an enemy to fight. Anybody. But they do not see. The real enemy, he is inside them. Oh, they hate us. Yes, they hate us. But really, they do not know why. They would kill us. And then they would look down at our bodies and they would feel like little children who had just broken their toys. They see only the difference of color or language. And they become angry because we are not as they. Oh, it is so sad. And that is why I have so much pity for them. So blind. They are so blind. The sun is there waiting for them, shining warm and full over everybody. But their eyes are still closed, and all they can see is the darkness.
The script for 1 out of 7 is written by James Edward Moser. Gil Dowd is the producer, and music is by Otto Clare at the Hammond organ. All characters in tonight's performance were portrayed by Jack Webb. Listen next week, same time, same station, for
1 out of 7.
Mark Jordan speaking. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting